All right, guys. So I hope everybody had a good holiday, Christmas, coming up on New Year's. We've been going out and abusing the immortal crap out of this HG P407. For those, watching the videos and, I'm just doing this. This is going to be I've got quite a bit of runtime on this truck now. About 22, 5500 MAH, 3S lipos. What has broken, we're going to go over in this video. Issues that I've ran into with the truck, things that I think you might need if you're interested in this rig. I have now got the diffs locked on it. It crawls exceptionally well. Went out with Steven's 304 RC. He got a new Sen Racing. It's the higher, taller, not the dually. I think it's like a 250 F250 with a lock. He put lockers in it all the way around. Jerry's Old Guy Review here on YouTube, he's got the dually version, which is the one that I was looking at wanting. But he got the regular, just F250. It's a nice truck. I'll add a little clip in here of these two trucks together, just a little short, brief little clip of going together. Dude, that's impressive. That is impressive. He's running, that's more of a setup, it's a link crawler. I went everywhere he could go with this on Leafs, with this setup that I have with these 475 tires. I went out today, ripping and tearing with this thing with a little different wheel and tire setup. And unfortunately, I wanted to do this as an update for this part as well. You'll see here, Rhodes is holding the 12 millimeter hex adapter. Ones I got off of a guy on eBay, and I have a link in the one video. Now, I blowed the center out of this. It was my fault. I mean, I've been whipping donuts with this thing, doing insane stuff. And this passenger rear tire just, it's free spin mode. And that's what happened with it. It just blowed the center of that spline out in that adapter. So I'm going to probably be going a different route. I have several sets RC four-wheel drive used to make. I think it's discontinued item now, of course. They make an aluminum hex that uses the spline as well, and I think it has a pin. I'm not real sure because it comes. I don't think it's splined. I'm sorry. It uses a regular 2 millimeter pin that goes through. So it's an axle kit. So you take all the internal axles out of the housings of this, and you swap it all over to the RC four-wheel drive kit. Hopefully they hold up as well as the actual axles that are inside of these housings, because these internal axles have been absolutely fantastic on this truck. I even thought about trying to just keep these axles and using the RC four-wheel drive 12 millimeter hex with the pin and drilling these axles and putting the pin in it and just keeping, because these internal axles have not broke or given me any trouble whatsoever, and I've been super hard on this truck. So I just wanted, I know there is people that are following this. There's a few guys that have told me on the RC, or on the HG P407 clone group on Facebook, and them guys are really, really cool, friendly group of guys, man. They share. There's not a whole lot of drama on that group and stuff, which is really cool. I really like that group. So I have got so much runtime on this truck, guys. Right off the bat, we're just going to start into what other failures I've had with it. So, the wheel, I'm going to say that hex hub adapter, it's not really the truck because it doesn't come with that. That's an aftermarket part that's 3D printed that I bought off of eBay. So I can't really say that's a failure on the truck's part, more so is that, aftermarket manufacturing part. And if anybody gets those, you might want to keep that in mind. I mean, I've been ripping this thing, and I've got a pretty big system on in it on 3S. So I mean, I've got it's a brushed motor, but I've got a 555 hobby wing in it, and that motor makes pretty good torque. I would say it's pretty close torque to like almost the brushless, running a brushless system in it. That motor it's got some umph. So if you keep that in mind, I think if you're just trailing with this truck with them hex hub adapters under just normal trailing circumstances, I don't think you're going to have a problem. I mean, I've been really bashing this truck hard. I've got videos on my Facebook page you guys can check out. Uh, I got like little reels and stuff of this thing just whipping donuts forever, man. Doing power slide donuts on blacktop road, and I've got some grippy tires on this thing too now. That doesn't help either. I've actually been doing so much donuts with it. I've actually got you can't these back tires are actually starting to expand a little bit. So they're not a flat profile now; they're more rounded. Where I've stretched them out a little bit, ripping on this thing. So let's see what else we got here. I think that's pretty much. Just wanted to go over that. If you do get them 12 mil hex adapters, they might break on you. So we'll just get right into the next part, which is the actual truck failures that I've had. Okay, so truck failures, just the straight stuff that just quit working or broke. I did break a shock mount, was my fault. I rolled it 250 foot down in a rock ravine. I was able to take the still running, using it, the plastic one still. All I did was just remounted it in here, and there was enough left on this little broken ledge down here for it to hold the leaf spring pack. So I was able to put it back together, and I just moved my shocks because there's different spots on the frame on this truck, which is cool. It's drilled to mount your shock perches, so I just moved the shocks back, which actually mounted them where they would rather normally be. On the truck, and you're not losing any articulation or travel in your shocks that way. I am going to start working on the rear shocks on this, changing out shock configurations and everything, and changing it around and putting longer shocks in the back to get a little more travel, because these leaf springs have about 4 or 5 more millimeters worth of travel than what it has stock. And this thing has pretty good suspension travel as it is out of the box for a leaf truck. So I'm going to be able to squeeze a little more out. These leaves have held up under extreme abuse. No problems whatsoever with the leaf springs on this thing. I've been super impressed with that. Next part we got here, what did quit working was the factory transmitter, and we're just going to set it down here. The factory transmitter quit working on it. I thought it was the servo. It wasn't the servo. It just lost its throw turning one direction. I have no idea what happened with that. It just would turn one way, turn the transmitter, and you had no steering throw to the left whatsoever. It just would not go. It was only turning like half the degree of the servo, and changing the servo didn't fix it. So I changed to the radios. That quit working. I had to switch it to the GT5 because it has the proper 3-position switch for the shifting on it right here. So, and these are really good radios. I run most of my trucks on that stuff, so on that radio. So that might be something if you look at getting one of these trucks that might give you a problem in the long run. I think what happened with me was I ran 8.4 volts through all the factory electronics in this truck for about 2-3 packs. And it was on 8.4 volts, and I think the receiver didn't, it would sit, and if you let it sit without throttling it or steering it, I noticed it would quit working. You had to toggle your transmitter on and off. So I think that was the main problem, is I fried the receiver, personally myself, running 8.4 volts to it. So I think if you would probably bump it up to a 7.4 if you're on the 2-in-1, or if you're on a 1080 GT like I'm running in this, don't turn it up to 8.4. I think you'd be okay staying at the factory 6 volts or the 7.4 volt setting on the ESC. But that was totally my fault. Next thing that broke on this, I don't have the broken bearings in the box. The bearing in this rear diff when I wrecked it, if you guys watched that, where I rolled it over the embankment down that ravine, I don't think it was a truck breakage necessarily. The bearing went out. These trucks are known for bearing problems, so keep that in mind. I think that bearing was more of the crash, actually, because the bearing was actually deformed. Like it rolled and hit maybe, and that axle jammed up. Because I still had open diffs at that time, and there's a little bit of movement in there. And I think that bearing, because the bearing cage itself was bent. And I don't think that would have been just normal running use. I mean, I don't understand how the outside bearing race would be bent. I think that pinion got shoved up inside of the housing when I wrecked this thing, and it bent it, and that's what busted it, and the ball bearings locked up inside because it kind of pinched it together. It wouldn't turn. So when I got into this rear housing and took it all apart, I ended up, it was, that video will post of me locking the diffs before this one, but I had a stock set of RC four-wheel drive Yoda 2s, and the center carrier for your ring and pinion is the same bearing that goes on the actual pinion on the back that went bad on this truck that broke. So I just pulled one of the stock RC four-wheel drive bearings in it and slopped it in here, and I was back ripping and tearing again, and I haven't had any problems. It's had 3 more 2S packs put through it with that RC four-wheel drive bearing. RC four-wheel drive bearings aren't known to be good either. So, you know what I mean? Keep that in mind. I would recommend getting a set of Fast Eddies, or there's a couple other company, and just going through this and replacing all the bearings. I think it's like $35-$40 for an entire bearing kit. They're sealed bearings. They're very nice bearings. You know, for $35-$40, that ain't bad, because you're buying the truck for $240 anyways, if you buy the RTR. The stock servos have been fine. I'm still running stock shift servo. Still running the stock. I was running the stock steering servo up until day before yesterday, and I locked the front diffs. So I did upgrade to a old, and I'm going to call it an upgrade, but it is a Traxxas Metal Gear servo out of a TRX4. And the main thing I did that is because it's a Metal Gear servo. It had nothing to do with torque or anything like that. I had it laying over here, and I knew I was going out actual crawling pretty hard with it. So I wanted a steel geared servo so it wouldn't strip out on me if I rolled it over and hit the wheels. Because, you know, those Traxxas servos, I don't consider them to be fantastic. Nothing against Traxxas or anything. But I don't, their steering servos to me, I mean, they're not real fantastic personally for me. Nothing against them, but there's a lot better servos out there. But, you know, it was an upgrade over the stock plastic geared servo that comes in this. So I did put it in there, but the stock servo never broke or quit working on this, and they handled 8.4 volts without any problems. They never even got hot or anything. So the servos did hold the voltage on this. The receiver just didn't. So the rear bumper, I ended up modifying on this truck. Yeah, you guys that watched that crash video at the end, I thought it was the frame in the back. I don't think you'd have to really do something stupid to bend this frame because it's super heavy duty, this chassis. The rear bumper, I actually didn't like it. It stuck out and it would get hung up crawling up steep stuff. So I trimmed my bumper mounts. I trimmed about, I don't think I kept the pieces here. I did not. I trimmed about probably close to maybe an inch off of the mounts and then slid them in and then just put the screws back in because this is drilled for multiple mounting locations. Then I just put the screws back in and it let me slide my bumper back up, and I thought it gave it a little better scale look, like it would look a real truck, because the bumper hung way out here. And it actually moved my bumper up a tad too, so it gave me more clearance in the back. The shocks have totally leaked themselves, completely empty. I am just relying on the shock springs to do all the work because there are springs on top of this. I am going to take these shocks apart, clean them, rebuild them, and try to get them sealed up a little better. I'm going to try to put what they call X-rings. I have a set of RC four-wheel drive, their X-ring shock seals, and I'm going to try to put them in these shocks if they'll work. And I am just right now leaving the springs because I like it bouncing around. I just want to add a little heavier shock oil to control the bounce so it doesn't hop quite as much and slow the hop down. Because if you're hopping, you're losing traction. Looks cool scale-wise, but I'm keeping this truck to do harder stuff with and be stupid with, and we've got another one of these trucks coming on the way. That's how much I like this truck. I bought another one. And that's what we're going to be doing our scale build on first. Is the one that I got coming to this. These trucks, I would buy 2 or 3 or 4 of these things. I love them so much. This truck has just been an absolute blast. I can't stop going out and running it. Now I have to because I blowed out that hex. And I just don't want to go back to running the stock tires on it. I mean, I could, but I'm just going to wait until I get everything switched over to a good set of aluminum metal hexes. That way I don't, because I'm doing harder stuff with this thing. We are going to strip this back cab off of it. I'm either going to strip this down, bed line this to make it look more like the toppers would look like from back in the day. I know a lot of people don't like these. I got some comments on it. I don't really care. These trucks had these on them back then, and I liked them then. I see my buddy had F-250 with one of these on the back of it, and it was actually pretty cool. And then I'm going to either that or I'll pop this louvered piece out, and we might put the RC four-wheel drive cab back piece back in this, and then slide this louver piece back in here and paint this up black probably. I don't know. I do want to do a paint job on this truck coming down the road and scale it out a little bit. But this is mainly a crawler basher, just having fun truck, guys. It's fantastic. I won't know until I get into doing the scale build how well you're going to get performance-wise. The whole scale build is going to be taken out, comparing it to, a TF2, comparing it to my TF3. We're going to run them against each other. We're going to do, suspension differences, all that stuff. We're going to do all that on the channel with this truck. So maybe guys don't like watching. I know the views haven't been fantastic, but I don't care because this truck is so much fun. It's just not even about that. That's how much fun this truck is. Personally, I feel it's that good of a truck. It's that much fun, man. It's just a blast to take out and just really just enjoy. I couldn't recommend buying this truck to anybody, in my opinion, for what you get. Price-wise, shipped to you. It doesn't take forever. I'll put an Amazon link in this description of this video for you guys, anybody that actually takes time out to watch. If you're interested in this truck, I don't get anything kicked back from it or anything like that. I can't see anybody would be disappointed. I have a friend that bought one of these for his nephew because he loves these Toyota trucks, and they couldn't afford to get an RC full drive because they're so expensive. And this truck has done so well, he thought it would be a good fit for him because he's young anyways. His truck did come in with a broken bumper, so some of them may come in with some damage. I don't know. I'm sure that seller will get him squared away. It took my truck about a week and 2 days to get here, so 7 days. That's not bad. Like I said, it was Amazon, and I'll put the link where I bought this one from off of Amazon. They have them in white and black. The black one's a little cheaper. He bought the black one. I think the black one's like $10, $15, maybe $20 cheaper. I think this one's like $250, and I think the black one's like $235. I think that's the price difference. I can't remember. But yeah, I'm ordering another one. It'll be here pretty soon, and we'll be doing like a scale build on it, going through it, swapping different axles. We're just gonna have fun on the channel with that build, and we're gonna be scaling that one. So scaling it as much as I possibly can, but it's gonna be a lot. I'm gonna try to do it budget, as I said in the other video. I'm gonna try to do it as budget compared to not go over. Say buying. We're gonna try to stay on like the RTR Trailfinder 2 from RC four-wheel drive. We're going to try not to go over that budget, price and parts and build-wise, so you guys can compare it to, because I think this truck's just a lot more fun to me. Even a scaled-down version of this truck, you're going to have all that, fun blasting around, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. Once I lock the diffs in this thing, when we were going out, we were doing that one, the Three Amigos video part 2. I know I don't think it didn't get a lot of views on it, but you can kind of notice this truck kind of had that little bit of, had like play between gears when you were slow rolling coming down a hill. It does the same thing. The RC four-wheel drive 2-speed has that same little bit of play in it. You'll get that, and then it'll roll and catch. This truck was bad about it, but after I locked the diffs in it, it quit doing that. So I don't think it was the transmission that had that slop. I think it was the slop in the open differentials with them moving around, because it almost totally did away with all that completely. So this thing will super slow crawl with a 2-in-1 system in it now. You're not going to get that jerkiness when you're coming downhill and you're on the throttle. It's not going to do that, you know, a little bit of catch, go and catch, go and catch. So it's not the transmission, and I just love the transmission in this thing. I just think it's uber fantastic. Let's see what else we got here. That's pretty much it, guys. Nothing, like I said, nothing else is broken. I got the video. The video of me locking the disc will be up before this one. Locking the disc is pretty simple and easy if you pay attention to what you're doing. These leaf springs are set breaking in nice and good now. I'm ordering a set of these leaf springs, the entire leaf pack kit off of AliExpress, and I'm going to be swapping actually the leaf springs off of my Marlin. I'm swapping my Marlin leaves over to these leaves, and I'm going to swap over the rear shackles that are on my Marlin as well to these longer shackles, so I can get a little more articulation out of the back of my Marlin as well. And I don't think that'll change stuff, because these leaf springs will work on an RC four-wheel drive as well. And these leaf springs work a lot better, in my opinion, than the RC four-wheel drive leaf springs do. So I'm going to be ordering several sets, and these leaf springs are cheap. I think I found them on there as low as like $7-8 for an entire kit, and that's for all four, a whole pack, and your shackles. You get everything for like $7-8. Can't beat that. And these leaves are really good, especially when they start breaking in. They articulate very well, especially once you set up shocks with longer travel and everything. So I think that's pretty much it, guys. You guys, please comment down below if you have questions or whatever. I know I got the one guy, he hated this thing. I don't mind the topper, you know, but I'm from that time period in the 80s, so this is what these trucks, a lot of trucks had this stuff on it. We will be narrowing the an HG axle in the back. I will be going over videos cutting the HG axle down with the RC full drive internal axle kit and re-drilling for your pin to narrow the back down. That's what we're going to start with, the scale build first. We will be narrowing that down to make this, track width the same in the front and the rear. Now, when you do that, you're going to lose stability. That's why I wanted to keep this one for bashing, because that little bit of extra width in the back and narrower in the front, you get a little more stability when you're out just bashing, doing donuts and stuff. It don't roll over as easy. Not that I probably couldn't make wheel spacers or different offset, wheel hexes to counteract it once I shortened it. I don't want to do that. I want this truck to be this truck because it's just that much fun. Then another thing, so if you get one of these and you don't want to go through the hassle of, if you're just going to crawl with it, you can buy these wheel hex adapters that I bought here. Or you could try to pick up the RC four-wheel drive kits if you can find them. I've been buying them when I run across them, so I have them. And I just put them back. I do think AliExpress has some of the actual aluminum whole axle kit. They don't necessarily say RC four-wheel drive, but they're probably RC four-wheel drive axle kit, internal axles. You can get yourself a set of these kind of wheels right here, or any kind of wheel. Well, that was off. And you can buy different offset 12 mil center hubs for the wheel. Keep them narrow ones as narrow as you can get in the back, and then put a little wider one in the front. And that's a cheap, affordable way for you guys to track with without modifying the axle housings or anything. I did run across that. I'll include a picture of white spokes, what it looked like with the axles both together. Now, it does widen your front out a little bit, and it keeps the back where it's at, but it widens your front out a little bit. And I went out and ran a battery pack through it with a set of white spokes on it with it like that. I didn't care for it. You lose some steering radius with the width. And I still haven't converted this to a front steering yet. We'll be going over that on the video with this truck. We're going to do a cheap aluminum front steering mount budget, because it's only $7-8 online, and you can buy that Amazon, eBay, AliExpress. I bought mine off AliExpress. I got 2 of them for $7. Took them a week to get here. So we're going to be doing the cheap aluminum, drilling it and moving the servo up front to get all the steering I can out of it. And I'll probably be putting a 270-degree servo in the front of this as well when I do that. So that way I can just adjust my endpoints to get my steering where I need to be. I'm starting to really like the 270-degree servos, and you just dial your endpoint adjustments back, and you have all that extra there if you need it. So I think that's it, guys. Gonna be doing a big, package unboxing video here pretty soon. Here comes MCAT C. She can say hi to the camera. She's standing off camera. MCAT C can say hi. She got a new RC for Christmas too, guys. It's pretty cool.
It's not an RC, it's a Barbie.
I know. It's a Barbie. But anyhow, guys, that's just it for the HG. This is going to be the last video for a little bit until the other truck comes in. I couldn't recommend this truck anymore, guys, to you. And I am not sponsored or anything from HG. I've tried to work with HG. I've emailed them. They say they don't work with YouTube channels anymore. I even offered to just try to get a little bit of discount so I could buy a couple kits to save me a little bit of money. They didn't want to work with me. I don't care. I'd still recommend buying this thing. It's just so much fun, guys. It's just an all-around truck that you can just go out and have fun and blast with. And it still performs really good for a leafer. I mean, it's pretty impressive, to be honest with you. So anyways, from the RC Dungeon, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Merry Christmas, 4th of July, and New Year's. Peace.
Everything.